Well, hey there. I'm going to show you now how we can make some really cool Christmas gifts, if that's what you do, and how we can help with our bird friends, those birds that don't migrate. Also, while I'm doing this, because this is actually a little more time consuming than some of the things that we've done, but while I do that, I'm also going to tell you some really fascinating facts about birds and how they adapt and how they migrate and some of the differences. It'll be fabulous. All right, friends, let's go. Let me show you what we're going to make. We are going to make two things, actually. And in this video, we're just going to make these really cool ornaments that we can give as gifts. Look, it's a tree. It might be kind of hard to tell because it's made out of birdseed, and we can hang it in our trees outside, do some decorating out there, and give food for our bird friends. So we have a tree. I made a candy cane, ta-da, and a big old gingerbread person. There we go. So I'm going to show you how we can make this, and it's going to be fun. It's actually really easy. The long part, like a lot of our experiments that have to sit for a while, the longest part is letting these sit so that they set. And even now, if I'm not careful, little bits of birdseed fall off. But it's really, really simple, and it only involves water, some unflavored gelatin like this. You don't have to use this brand, but just get some packets of unflavored gelatin and birdseed. And remember when we made that the exploding seed pods? Well, if you have birdseed, or if you happen to get some to do those, well, you can just use the birdseed to make these ornaments. Yay! And one thing that does make it easier is if you do get birdseed that's like a mixture, because as you can see, some of these pieces are a little bit bigger, but there's a lot of really small pieces, which makes it a little bit easier to pack together. There's some bags of birdseed, basically, that's just all sunflower seeds, and these might not form as well. So what we're going to do is this. I am taking 1/4 cup. I know it's moving around a lot, but if you use one of these measuring cups, it's the very bottom line. So that's just 1/4, 1/4 of a full cup of water. I'm going to put it in a pan. So I've got my things set up here in my classroom. I've got my hot plate. So this is obviously where you would need some grown-ups to help you. So I've got my hot plate. Oh, I should probably turn it on. And I'm going to get that boiling. So what you want to do is you get this running to a boil, and then we're going to add in just 1 packet of this unflavored gelatin. And we wait for it to dissolve. And while we do that, we need to stir it quite a bit. So while this is heating up, let me just fascinate you with some of these things that I just learned about birds. So we talked about migration before, about how it's a seasonal movement of animals. Now, with birds, there is actually 4 different types of migration, and this is really cool. So if you have, well, actually there's 3. Anyway, you have birds that are called permanent residents. Those are the ones that don't migrate. Those are the ones that we are actually helping out with our birdseed. And then you have what's called short-term migration. So that's basically just, like it says, a short distance. So for instance, up in the mountains, some birds up in the higher part of the mountain where it's colder will just move to a lower part. So where it doesn't get quite as cold. So we have great examples to see that here where we live, because we can see the mountains around us. And a lot of times we notice that just the tops of them are covered in snow and the bottoms aren't. So that means a lot of those birds that maybe during the spring and summer are living closer up to the top of the mountain just move down below the snow line. So then you also have these birds that are kind of a medium distance, and then they travel maybe just a state or two away. Then you have that long distance migration, and that is those geese or birds, robins, that will fly actually from here in North America all the way down to Central America, which is south of Mexico. They might go down to South America. And then we've got that one bird, the Arctic tern, that flies from the Arctic, from the North Pole, all the way down to Antarctica every year. All right, friends. So we have boiling water here. You can probably maybe see the steam coming off of there. All right, let me get this packet of gelatin in. And all we do is we just stir that around. I'm actually going to turn that down a little bit. Whew. Okay, I'm going to stir that around. Ah! Oh, I got some hot water on me. That was really hot. Yikes. Ugh, I don't know how I managed to do that. Oh, I know. It was when I was tilting it, maybe so you guys could see inside. But whew. Okay, I got to tell you, I did something super silly when I came here today. So today's Sunday, right? This is when, ow, I do a lot of my making videos. Anyway, I got all of my materials and everything that I was going to need, and make sure that I had it all here. And then I went off without any of my metal spoons from home. So I have to use the ones that I have here in the classroom, which are plastic. And, you know, plastic really doesn't work very well when you're talking about things that are high heat. Okay, so you let that mix. I'm going to keep stirring it because I see a big old blob of it in there, so that means it's not quite dissolving. I want to make sure it dissolves so I don't have the big hunks of it in there. And then, okay, that's looking better. Kind of hard for you guys to see. Whee! So that's boiling away, isn't it? Man, this thing gets hot. Hey, maybe that's why they call it a hot plate. Gosh. Anyway, so that's looking pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off, get this off the heat. Whew. And we need to let it sit for about 2 minutes while it continues to dissolve. You can see in there. Make sure I don't spill any more on me. Man, that was hot. It went like right through my pants. Okay. Again, this is why you need grown-ups, because even this grown-up is having kind of a hard time with it. So I am going to set it down here for a little bit. I got to find a place to set it, because if I put it back on the hot plate, it's just going to start boiling again. Let me get my nasty old cookie sheet here. I got this metal sheet that I'm going to be using. I'll put that on there. So, whew, I got to tell you though, when this unflavored gelatin gets hot, it stinks. Too bad we don't have smell-o-vision, because you would definitely tell. Oh, and now I have all this gelatin and stuff all over my pants. Yay! Welcome for this great adventure we're on. Anyway, so again, that was 1/4 cup of water, boiled it, threw in 1 packet of the unflavored gelatin, got it to dissolve. Now we're just waiting for about a minute, which is, well, you know, probably right about now. And now we are going to put in 1 full cup of birdseed. 1 full cup of birdseed is going to go in the pan. So let me angle this down. Dump that in there. And it might seem like that's an awful lot of birdseed for just a little amount of this gelatin, but it works actually really well. So I will tell you that the first time I made this, when I made those other ones over there, the ones that I showed you, I used the recipe that I got on the internet. The internet has got fabulous resources. Anyway, that recipe was a little bit different. It was double this. So I do have a link to that recipe and the blog that it came off of, and I have put it here on the slide, so you are welcome if you can't remember what I told you as far as how much to use, or if you want to double it. You can either double it in your head, which so many of you can do that. Think about this. If I only used 1 cup of birdseed now, how many would I use if I double the recipe? Huh? That's right. 2 cups. Obviously, that means I would have to do what? I would have to double the amount of water and the amount of packets of whatever that's called, unflavored gelatin. Okay, so we got that mixed up really, really well. And I will tell you though, I have seen some other recipes that instead of using this gelatin, they tell you to go ahead and mix it with coconut oil. But then I read in another place that too much coconut oil really isn't very good for birds. So sometimes it depends on where you look, right? Okay, so I am going to set this aside for a moment, and I'm going to get my pan ready. So I just use this, as you can see, this is a gross pan. We don't actually use this for food unless we put down parchment paper. So it does ask you to use parchment paper. A lot of people use this for baking. My oldest daughter, Zoe, loves to cook and to bake, and so she uses a lot of this parchment paper. And we're putting this down a couple of reasons. One, it's going to help keep things from sticking, and also we don't have to put anything against this really old, gross, kind of rusty pan. So let's get a cookie. What is this? Cookie cutter. That's what this is called. So I'm going to get one of these and set it down. Now here's the thing, is remember in the finished one, so let me get this up here. So I need to have a place to thread in the ribbon, right? So I need to I don't want to pack this totally full because then it might be kind of hard to get a hole in it. So what I do is when I start to put the birdseed in here, I'm actually going to use a straw, and I'm going to set it in there so that the birdseed's going to pack around it and I will have a hole. Okay, I need to move some things around because this table I'm using, seriously, is not very big. Well, you guys know, those of you who've been in here, this is not a huge table. Okay, move things around. Yada da 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 da. Oh, hey, and the bottom of my pan's already cool. Nice. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to start spooning in the birdseed. Blech. Now, this is where it's kind of, this is the time-consuming part, or one of them, because remember, we are going to have to let this sit for at least 2 hours. What I did, actually, is I let it sit for 2 hours. I was able to take one of them out of the mold after that, so it did work. But then I just let the other one sit for a little bit longer, and that seemed to help really, really keep them nice and, what's the word I want? Stuck together, maybe? Because what's going to happen, and this is even science, is that gelatin, as it sits, is going to get harder and harder. Because as it cools down, excuse me, it is going to harden. See, and you can get the extra. So you can see this plastic spoon is not the best to use because that birdseed is getting all sorts of stuck all over it, but that's okay. So I'll just get the birdseed in here. And again, this is where I'm a little bit annoyed where I forgot my spoons because at home I have this really nice little skinny metal spoon that worked really well in getting all of this packed down in here and into these little tighter places. And that's one thing you want to be sure to do is pack it down. So as I put it in here, my hand is in the way. Ay, 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 Mrs. Nichols. Let's see if I can, well, I don't want to move it too much. But see, that's kind of the nice thing about the parchment paper is I can actually move this around and it all just stays right inside that cookie cutter. So I'm hanging onto the straw and I'm packing this in. Oh, again, it's getting kind of hard. La, 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 la. Oh, let's see. What else was I going to tell you about? Oh, I got a piece stuck to me. We were talking about migration. So one thing that I found out, which I thought was really interesting. So here worldwide, there are, oh boy, about 10,000 different species of birds. So a lot. No, wait a minute. That's not even enough. Maybe it was 100,000. Oh my goodness gracious. You know what I have to do while you guys are here with me is I'm going to do this. And I'm going to look kind of funny doing it, but you guys should be used to that. Let's see. Where did I see that? I Googled how many birds. There it is. Migrate for the winter. So, yes. Oh, that's right. There are about 10,000 species of birds. And out of that 10,000, less than 2,000 migrate. So most of the birds of the world stay where they are. Now, there's obviously places in the world where they don't need to migrate. Places that stay fairly warm, especially around the equator. It stays pretty darn hot there most of the time. Lower level areas that don't get super cold. So a lot of those birds, there's really no need to migrate because they don't see the winters like we do up here. There's other states here in the United States, California, Florida, a lot of the southern states that don't get super, super snowy cold. So there's no need for them to migrate, right? But then you get all of the ones around here, Canadian geese. They need to migrate. Certain ducks, some swans, they need to leave because it's too cold. But the rest of them, the ones that don't migrate, those ones that have to adapt, well, this is really great for them because a lot of those adapting birds, they also, especially the ones obviously that live around people, they kind of rely on people, or they get used to people who have bird feeders and bird baths. And so this just really helps them out so they are able to get something to eat. All right, my friends. So now I need to let this thing sit for at least 2 hours. And then once it's done, just take the straw out. And very, very carefully what I'll do is I will push down on the bird seed and very, very carefully raise up the cookie cutter. And then we get one of these. It's pretty cool, huh? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and the other ones I made and all of the ones I'm going to make this coming week in all of the live classes. And what am I going to do? Oh, I know. I'm going to put them on this one tree we have that's right off our back porch. We have several, but we have one that's closest. And I'm just going to hang this all around the tree. And what's cool is then throughout the winter, yay, we can watch birds coming along. And I wonder how many squirrels are going to take off with these. That could even be a science experiment, an observation thing. So what animal is going to get the most use out of these ornaments? Birds or squirrels? What I'd have to do is set up a camera facing that tree, facing where those things are, and just record. I honestly don't know if I'll be able to do that, but that's a cool idea. All right, my friends. Hey, oh, and I think I mentioned this earlier, these make really fun gifts for people. So if you can't think of what you want to give to Auntie or an uncle or grandma or grandpa or mom or dad or whoever, cousins, make them some really cool birdseed ornaments. All right. Oh, next slide, I'm going to show you a quicker and maybe a little easier way to make one. And now I can't find the stop. Oh, here it is.